You pulled your socks off last night, and that deep ring was still pressed into your ankle this morning. If you are over 60, that mark is not about salt. It is not about water. It is your kidneys telling you they have lost something the clinic does not have time to explain. Stay with me. In 15 minutes you will know what is actually missing. And you will know the morning drink Korean grandmothers have used for over 1,000 years to bring it back. My name is Ezekiel Campbell. Most folks call me Papa. For 55 years, I have been keeping the bush remedies of the Blue Mountains of Jamaica. 5 generations of healers in my family. My grandfather used to sit on the porch with his pipe and tell me, Zeki, every sickness in the body begins down in the belly. He had decades of watching, and what the laboratories are publishing now, my grandfather already knew before I was born. I am going to share with you something I have watched bring older ankles down in folks from 60 to 93 years old. There is one small step in it that 9 out of 10 people miss, and that step is the difference between a tea that runs through you and a tea your kidneys actually respond to. I will give it to you. But first, the picture nobody draws for you at the clinic. Here is what is happening inside an aging kidney. Inside each one sit hundreds of thousands of tiny filtration units called nephrons. After the age of 40, the count starts going down. By 60, meaningfully fewer. By 70, fewer still. The ones that remain still work, but they work harder, they strain longer, they get tired. Think of a garden hose that has been sitting in the sun for 30 years. The inside of that hose has built up a soft layer of mineral. The water still flows but slower. The pressure is uneven. So what does the clinic do? They write you a prescription for a water pill. The water pill is a pressure washer. It cranks the flow up hard, forces the water through, and pushes the puffiness out of your ankles in a hurry. But it strips the hose. It pulls potassium out with it, magnesium out with it, and it does nothing for the buildup that started the whole problem in the first place. So the swelling comes back next week, and next month, and next year. What the Korean grandmothers have been doing for 1,000 years is something different. They do not pressure wash. They run a slow, steady rinse through the hose. They loosen the buildup. They let the flow return on its own, the way it used to return when you were 40. That is exactly what the corn silk tea does. Slow, steady, without stripping the soil. After 60, your kidneys are not asking for more pressure. They are asking for a partner. Something that supports them while they rest. The way a good son or daughter holds the elder's arm walking down the porch steps. That is what we are about to put in your morning cup. The Korean name for this tea is Oksusu Yomcha. The silk is the soft golden hairs you find when you peel back an ear of fresh corn. Most folks throw them in the compost. The Korean grandmothers save them. They have saved them for over 1,000 years. What is actually in the silk? Flavonoids called maisin, potassium, soft polysaccharides that the kidney filtration cells respond to like a slow, warm rinse. My grandmother, on my mother's side, brewed it on every elder in our village whose feet were puffing or whose eyes looked tired in the morning. Her mother did the same. Her mother before her, 5 generations of women in our hills watching the swelling soften within 3 or 4 days. Long before any laboratory ever heard of maisin, the women in our hills already knew. Here is something interesting. Different soil, different continent, same plant, same medicine. The Jamaican grandmothers and the Korean grandmothers landed on the same morning ritual without ever speaking to each other. When 2 traditions on opposite sides of the world reach the same answer, that is not coincidence. That is the body telling both of them what it needs. But here is where most folks in America miss the boat. They take the corn silk, they boil it, they drink it, and they get half the benefit. The other half is in one small step that takes 7 minutes and changes everything. Let me give you the recipe first, and then I will give you the step. Take a small handful of dried corn silk, about 2 heaping tablespoons. You can find it at any Korean grocery, or you can save the silk from fresh ears of summer corn and dry it on a clean towel for 2 or 3 days until it crumbles. Store it in a glass jar away from the light. In the morning, bring 2 cups of water to a low simmer, not a rolling boil, a low simmer where you see small bubbles rising along the side of the pot. Drop the corn silk in, cover the pot, let it simmer 10 to 12 minutes, then take it off the heat. Now here is the step 9 out of 10 folks miss. Before you strain it, take a piece of fresh ginger, about the size of your thumbnail. Slice it thin, drop the slices into the hot tea, off the heat, and let them steep for another 7 to 8 minutes. Then strain. Those 7 minutes of ginger steeping in the warm corn silk water is the difference between a tea that just runs through you and a tea that supports the kidney filtration deep where it counts. The ginger carries compounds called gingerols. The gingerols gently open the small blood vessels around the kidney, the way morning sun warms a stone wall. When the vessels are softened, the corn silk's flavonoids reach the filtration cells far more completely. Without the ginger, you are pouring medicine onto cold ground. With the ginger, the medicine arrives where it is needed. Drink 1 warm cup on an empty stomach, before any coffee, before any food. Now that recipe alone is what I have given to folks for years. And I have watched it bring swelling down in 3 to 4 days. But I am going to be honest with you, because at 55 years in, I am too old to lie to you. The corn silk and the ginger get most folks about 70% of the way home. There is a stubborn last 30% that does not lift on the tea alone. And I had to spend the better part of 3 years figuring out why. Here is what I learned, and here is what the laboratories are now confirming. The kidney is not the only thing that ages after 60. The gut ages too, and faster. By the time we hit 60, the gut has lost more than half of the bacterial diversity it had at 30. More than half gone. And what nobody at the clinic explains, because nobody has the 15 minutes, is that the gut is where the body decides what to do with everything you put in it. It is where the corn silk is broken down. It is where the kidney signals get sent. If the bacteria are not there, the medicine arrives at a closed door. Think of it this way. The body is a garden. The probiotic is the seed. The prebiotic is the soil. The postbiotic is the fruit. All 3 have to work together, or the seed dies hungry, and the soil cracks and no fruit ever shows up on the vine. Most folks take a probiotic pill, and they think they have done the work. But a seed without soil is just a stone. A seed without water never opens. The garden does not feed itself. This is the part of the picture I missed for years. I would give the corn silk and the ginger to a folk in their 70s, watch the swelling drop 60-70%, and watch them plateau. The last bit would not lift. I thought it was age. I thought it was inevitable. But it was not age. It was the soil underneath. Let me tell you about a woman named Eleanor, 72 years old, lives up in Bar Harbor, Maine, retired from 40 years as a town librarian. She came to me 18 months ago. Her ankles had been swelling for 2 years. The clinic had her on a water pill that left her dizzy in the afternoons and woke her 3 times in the night. She had given up her morning walk down to the harbor because her shoes did not fit by 4 in the afternoon. I started her on the corn silk and the ginger, exactly the way I just walked you through. By week 3, the swelling had reduced by what she estimated at 60%. By week 6, the rings on her ankles in the evening were gone. She was thrilled. I was thrilled. But by week 8, the progress had stopped. The last 25% would not budge. She told me, "Papa, I can feel the difference, but my afternoons are still heavy." This is the moment, 2 years ago, when I would have told her she had hit the ceiling for her age. But I had been looking. I had spent 3 years digging into what was missing in older bodies, testing every probiotic I could get my hands on. Most of them were a single strain in a hard pill, seed only, no soil, no fruit. They did almost nothing for the folks I gave them to. A few of them carried prebiotic fiber, which is the soil, better, but still no postbiotic, which is the actual healing compound the bacteria produce when they are well fed. What I finally landed on is called BoochBod. It is the only chewable I found, that carries all three pieces of the garden: seed, soil, fruit. The probiotic strain is a clinically studied one called lactospore that survives the trip through the stomach. The soil is the prebiotic fiber that feeds it once it lands. And the fruit is a postbiotic called postbiotics LM1004, which is the repair compound itself. On top of that, it carries dandelion root. The same dandelion root my grandmother kept in glass jars up in our hills, used for centuries to support the kidneys. When I read that on the label, I understood I had found what I had been looking for. I had Eleanor added to her morning rhythm. 4 weeks. The corn silk and ginger kept doing what they had been doing. But the stubborn last 25% finally let go. By month 4, her shoes fit at 4 in the afternoon the way they fit at 9 in the morning. She told me, "Papa, I went down to the harbor yesterday and walked all the way to the breakwater. I had not done that in 2 years. That is when I knew. The corn silk and the ginger were the rinse, but the gut was the soil. And without the soil, the rinse could only do so much." Now, something else mattered to me about BoochBod, because I am 68 years old and I am tired of swallowing pills. BoochBod is a chewable kombucha gummy, not a hard pill that sits in your throat in the morning, not another bottle to line up next to your blood pressure medicine. You chew 2 of them, they taste like apple cider. The body recognizes them as food, not as another chemical it has to process. After 55 years of watching elders give up on supplements because the pills got too heavy to swallow, I cannot tell you how much that simple thing matters. Over 30,000 folks are using BoochBod now. The company stands behind it with a 60-night promise. If your ankles are not lighter and your mornings are not steadier in 60 mornings, every dollar comes back. That is the kind of guarantee a company offers when they have watched the product work and they are not afraid of what their own customers will say. The link is sitting in the description below this video. As always, please speak to your doctor before starting any supplement, especially if you are on a prescription water pill. Before I close out the rest of the morning rhythm, do me one small favor. If this has helped you see something the clinic did not have time to explain, tap subscribe. Most folks who write to me had been watching for months before they realized they were not subscribed. It costs you nothing, and it tells me to keep recording. Then meet me back here for the last 3 pieces. The corn silk and the ginger and the gut work need 3 small partners through the day. None of them take more than 10 minutes. All of them quietly multiply what is happening inside. First, 20 minutes after your tea. Take a slow walk for 10 minutes. Even around the inside of the house if it is cold outside. The lymph in your legs does not have a pump of its own the way the heart pumps blood. It moves only when you move. Without the walk, the fluid the kidneys just released sits in the lower legs again. With the walk, it leaves the body. The Korean grandmothers send their elders out to sweep the front step every morning for this exact reason. Second, 15 minutes after the tea, eat a small bowl of stewed pumpkin or cooked sweet potato. Both are loaded with potassium. Potassium works hand in hand with the corn silk to balance fluid in the tissues. The Korean grandmothers serve a soft rice porridge with pumpkin called juk on top of the morning tea for hundreds of years for this reason. Third, before bed, lie on your back with your feet up against the wall for 10 minutes. Pull a cushion off the couch if you need extra height. Gravity does the rest of the work overnight. The fluid that built up during the day flows back toward the kidneys. You wake up with lighter ankles than you went to bed with. This is the oldest swelling remedy in any tradition I have walked through, from the Caribbean to the Korean countryside to the highlands of India. 3 small things, 10 minutes each, done while the corn silk, the ginger, and the gut work do the heavy lifting underneath. Now, 3 mistakes I have watched folks make so you do not lose any of the medicine you are about to brew. Mistake 1. Boiling the corn silk too hard. A rolling boil destroys the soft polysaccharides. A low simmer is what carries the medicine into the water. If your pot is dancing, turn the heat down. Mistake 2. adding sugar or honey. The tea is meant to be slightly bitter. The bitterness is part of the kidney signal. Sugar in the morning spikes blood glucose and undoes the gentle work the corn silk is doing. If you must sweeten, wait 3 or 4 weeks. Mistake 3. Skipping the ginger. The ginger is what opens the door. Without it, the tea runs through. With it, the tea works. Do not skip it. Folks, what we have been talking about today is not really about a tea. It is about the mornings ahead of you. The mornings when you swing your legs over the side of the bed and stand up without that heavy ache in your ankles. The Sunday afternoons when your grandchildren come over and you can get down on the rug to play with them and get back up on your own without anyone reaching for your elbow. The slow walk to the harbor or the back garden that you stopped taking 2 years ago and you take it again next month because your shoes fit at 4 in the afternoon the way they fit at 9 in the morning. It is never too late. The body at 70 can come back. The body at 75 can come back. The body at 80 can come back. I have watched it more times than I can count over 55 years. The kidneys are forgiving when they are given the right partner, and the gut is forgiving when it is given the right soil. Let me lock the whole rhythm in for you. The corn silk tea with the 7-minute ginger step taken on an empty stomach every morning. The pumpkin or sweet potato 15 minutes after for the potassium. The slow walk 10 minutes after that to move the lymph. The legs up the wall 10 minutes before bed to let gravity do the overnight work. And underneath all of that, the gut work that closes the last 25%, probiotic, prebiotic, postbiotic, seed, soil and fruit in one place, the way the body actually uses it. Whenever you are ready, the link to BoochBod is sitting in the description below this video. The 60-night promise stands. If you do not feel lighter in 60 mornings, every dollar comes back, and you keep what you have learned today either way. Pick up the corn silk, find the ginger, start tomorrow morning, and give your gut the soil it has been asking for so the corn silk has somewhere to land. You are the one driving this body. You always have been. The Creator gave you one, and it can come back further than you think. Papa is signing off.